Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the Richmond vs St Kilda game, in which St Kilda ran out 99 to 51 point winners, just to continue that gap from, I guess, the sort of three teams down there in the likes of West Coast, North, and also Richmond. I mean, West Coast is starting to pull away from North, but those three teams and pull away from that gap, as I believe Adelaide were also down there in that sort of region, in that 14th, 13th place, and they also won on the weekend. So it's creating a further gap there. That sort of almost tiers of competition. There's sort of I would say almost 4 tiers. But anyway, let's just jump into this video here. As you can see here, a pretty decent game for me in terms of who I selected from this game, and I feel like my trades are actually turning out in the last couple of weeks to be really good now that I'm using that that feature of that from DFS. I think it's a really good feature, and I think now with potentially even Sheasel out, that Sicily becomes even more of a hotter prospect. Given that I think across 2 games he can really outscore, well, Sheasel in 1, but he could be the top scoring defender in overall in these last 2 weeks. So I think he's one to look out for. But for Richmond, Daniel Rioli's actually hit a patch of form a little bit. As you can see here, 87, 112, 85, 62, 135. So that's what... 197 odds, sort of 305. Oh, that's probably somewhere around that 470 through 5, 480 through 5, which is around that 90, 95 range. And that's pretty decent. No, it's probably, 95 or so. That's pretty decent for what he's coming in at. Around that, he was probably 600 or so K, 630K when he started this run. But yeah, he's just not in the top tier of the defenders. He's just a sort of mid-pricer that's had a good 5 weeks and put it at that. But I don't think he has any fantasy relevance. I've been sort of surprised about Jaden Short. And one thing I'm interested to see next year is if Daniel Rioli does move, whether Jaden Short takes up a big mantle. Because basically what's going to happen is Daniel Rioli's points are going to go. And they're going to have to be redistributed. I think they stay in the back line, those points, those 80 points. But do those 80 points go, say, 20 to Jaden Short and he goes up to 100? Or do those 80 points get spread out from Trezise, who's, I know he's had some sub games, etc., but does he jump from like a 45 to an 80 or something like that? When you discount all the sub games, I'm pretty sure with Trezise, he's more of a 60 guy. So does he gain 30, 40 points and go up to sort of that 90 guy? Or does he sort of stay the same and more percentage of the points go to Jaden Short and push him back up to primo status? So I think someone is going to get the points at Richmond. I just don't know who is going to get points. It could easily be that they get, I wouldn't be surprised if they get more picks in sort of that 15 to 20 range with all the picks that they have. And then they're able to get, I don't know exactly where he falls, but like a Toby Travalia could end up at Richmond, and he would be perfect for their sort of in that range, in that half-back range. And he would be one that could hit the ground running as a rookie and average like 70 off the half-back. But yeah, there's someone in that back line is going to gain points if Daniel Rioli leaves. I don't know if he will leave, but that's just been something that's been reported. And then Banks here, he could also pick up points. He's had non-sub games where he, as you see here, these sort of games where he's non-sub, he's probably about a 60 guy as well. So you sort of have him, Short, and Trezise, who I think are going to be the ones that could potentially pick up points if Rioli leaves, and it'll just be a matter of who picks them up. Nankervis 80, Hopper, Trezise, Taranto 74. He's just one that honestly needs to almost be put on ice at this point. He's just had a horrific season. Put it just in the rearview mirror almost. And yeah, so he's 74 from him. He's going to be unders next year, like 94, 93. Can he take that next step back up towards that sort of 110? I don't know exactly. I don't think I'd be willing to jump on it. But then again, if you sort of start discounting the injured game, this 40 game here, I don't know, forgot what happened in that, but you would start to see that his average is probably about 3 or 4 unders, but it's not as good as I think there are like 70 guys. I'd rather go for uber primos and guys that than probably Taranto, hoping he gets like 8 or 9 up. I'd rather go for guys that are like priced at like 70 that have a discount rather than him, I think. Bolter, Prestia, Mansell, no one else he really actually matters at all, like looking at it. Smith could be interesting next year, given that he's now got an average of, what was it, 32 through 3, so that's 90, he's 97 plus 8, 105 through 4, which is around about that 26 marker, just over 26, and with taking into account 82% of that would be with the discount that he's currently got, that would put him, I don't know exactly, but probably somewhere around that 20 marker, which would get him still at min price. And so he could be one next year that also comes in and takes a massive chunk just if he isn't sub. Then we move over to St Kilda and Rowan Marshall. He's just been on a tear recently. Alongside Tristan Cherry, there two are just taking away from everyone. So I wish I had actually gone for him and Cherry when I had the opportunity with with English and Grundy that I brought back in. They could have easily gone to those two, and I probably would be about 1,000, 1,500 places better off. But it is what it is. He just went 140, smashed it in the first quarter and a half. As you see here, he was on, 10, 18, 18 points, so that would be 16. So he was on about 57. 10 minutes into the second, and then he also got off to a really hot start again in this quarter. He ended up with 23 touches, 11 marks, 0 tackles. For him was slightly surprising. If that was at 5 or 6, then he pretty much matches Tristan Cherry. 25 hitouts and 3 goals. He did slow down the hitouts dramatically in the second half, but yeah, when you have a 29 as your lowest quarter, that's a pretty good quarter in general. Sinclair 116, he's been pretty good. I don't know if he necessarily hits the heights of some of the other guys, like Nick Newman currently I think is one of the better ones to have, just because the chaos down back, especially with Sard out for the foreseeable future. They have 17 guys on the injury list, Carlton, so I think Sinclair will probably fall behind Nick Newman in the best selections for the remainder of the season, just because I think that Nick Newman has a pretty good games the last couple, but I think he also falls behind the likes of Sicily in the last couple, just because their games are pretty positive. But yeah, he's pretty good. 116, he's put out a pretty good run in the last month of 100 scores in all of them, and if you take out the Adelaide game, he pretty much extends back to the bye of him going really well, and yeah, he's gone probably 110 since the bye, I would think that is, roughly, with the 2 130 scores and just one bad 70 score. Battle Dow Wilkie Steele with a 99. He's sort of been, again, very similar to the likes of Sinclair. He's really put up good scores since the bye, probably around that 110 marker again as well. So he's been pretty good. Wangani Malera, I was sort of surprised he struggled in this game to really put on a massive score. Only a 95 from him, and yeah, just the last quarter. He was on 85 at 3/4 time. That's sort of, if you get a good enough last quarter, that's pushing 115 almost. So for him to get to a 95, a little bit surprising. Woods is sort of an awkward one where it's 1 week he scores really well, 1 week he doesn't. So it's just hard to have him in the forward line with this. But then again, if you can get him potentially forward looping with a Philippou, sorry, you can't loop that, like a Peatling or something like that, then I think that's really good, as I really like the look of Peatling at the moment, just because he got the 10 coaches votes, and I think that sort of cements him in the best 22. You can't put him down to sub after he's our best on ground in their game. So I think that he, alongside Philippou or Wood, should be that rotating 6 or F6, F7 split that you can do. Jones, Clark, Burns, Membry, Owens, Hill, Howard, no one else here really that I think is interesting, and anything next year either as well, because they're all sort of 40s, 50s, 60s, and I don't think any of them get a role change to really increase that. So that pretty much is the video there, going through Richmond versus St Kilda. If you did enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and I'll see you guys in the next game review. Bye guys.